welcome back. Good to see you. Today I've got a video of another guy I just happened to run into, simping for Lane Myers. I thought it was only a public service, but we have this other guy named Jason Zwack, Zwack, I guess, and he's simping hard for Lane Myers by going after creators who do videos about Lane Myers and his insanity. It's pretty funny. I'm not going to play all of his videos because they're like 2 hours long or an hour long or something like that. So I'm just going to show you pieces of it. This guy is hysterical, and he's dumber than a box of rocks. I mean, seriously. Anyway, let's get right into the video, folks. Enjoy. In this video, he goes after a creator you probably know if you watch this channel, Lucid's Lair, somehow trying to imply that every time she mentions Lane Myers' name, that she is adding to the harassment of the victim of the crime of Lane Myers. It makes absolutely no sense. This guy's a dim-witted moron. But anyway, I'll show you. You'll get it.
Everybody who watches this channel, listen up, because this is the most important video of your entire life. Especially the person that is commentating and narrating or owning or whatever, okay? I don't believe any of this is actually harassment, but for the purposes of you learning something, I'm going to just agree that the courts are correct on this, which they're not. But for the purposes, if you believe the words you're saying, then you'll understand this.
He is just back to being absolutely insane. So we'll see. Here is Lane Myers talking about what he says are his plea offers. Now, in the original video, it makes it sound like he's talking about offers that he has gotten from the prosecutor. And that will become very apparent very quickly that that is just not the case. These are offers that he is supposedly making to the prosecutor, and they had until 5 o'clock today, Wednesday, April 9th, to respond and agree to one of his offers. Before we get into it, first and foremost, though, thank you to all of my channel members and subscribers. I really hope you are enjoying the Lane Myers updates as things develop. We're going to keep them coming.
Okay, you guys have probably had high school bullies, right? I was a skater, so nobody bullied me. I was like cool with everybody. But I'm assuming you guys have a high school bully, and you probably remember his name. And if they said his name out loud right now, you probably would, get a feeling like. So if this is a true harassment thing, then Lane Myers saying the name Lane Myers to her is harassment. Not saying her name. Lane Myers was the one, banned from saying her name. You can say it. You don't have to bleep it out, right? Saying Lane Myers, making this video, having 10,000 people all talk about Lane Myers is the harassment. You fail to see that.
Okay, let me get this straight. If somebody with a YouTube channel who does stories like this, like I do, like she does, like Patrick Darcy, who he also goes after in one of his videos, is actually contributing to the harassment of the victim by saying Lane Myers' name out loud. What?
For example, The Lion King, where they never say the name Mufasa, right? Because it gives them a shiver. If you honestly believe the crap that you say about her being a victim of harassment, right, you are encouraging 10,000 people to continue that harassment, right? Now, put yourself in her shoes and thinking in the mind of somebody who's being harassed, how does this statement sound? If Lane Myers was your harasser and you heard this.
Before we get into it, first and foremost, though, thank you to all of my channel members and subscribers. I really hope you are enjoying the Lane Myers updates as things develop. We're going to keep them coming.
You just said to a victim of harassment that you are going to continue to update people about her harasser and make her relive the harassment over and over every time you say Lane Myers.
Maybe I'm just a little dense, but what the hell is he talking about? What is he talking about? Every time the news does a story about a murderer or something like that, or a rapist or whatever, then they're victimizing the victim by saying the name of the individual accused of doing that. It makes absolutely no sense, which leads me to believe that this guy is an idiot.
You said his name 5 times already, and now that you're happy that people are following. How is that not insanity? How are you not the ones that are insane? Lane Myers is in jail.
If you need to catch up on the craziness that is Lane Myers, I will link my Lane Myers playlist somewhere up here in the top corner.
You've once again reminded the harassee that she has a crazy harasser and that you're going to do an on-demand list of harassment anytime somebody wants to click on it.
If you are new here, please consider subscribing. I would most certainly appreciate it. But for now, let's go ahead and get into the video.
Now you're going to play his harassing voice without her name in it, but you're going to play his harassing voice talking about the case and her, but just his voice.
Okay, I think I've played enough of this to get my point across. This guy's an idiot. Anyways, he talks some more about it and how she's so wrong, and anybody with a YouTube channel, I guess he doesn't include himself in that, but it's just trying to get subscribers and viewers and stuff like that. But, it's wrong when anybody else does it except for him, I guess. But yeah, he's a big simp for Lane Myers. He switches simping for different people, over time, but he's been focused on Lane for quite a while. Anyway, he goes into her merchandise that she sells and stuff like that. Well, some people do this for a business. I don't have any problem with that. I don't know why he does. That's probably eventually what he wants to do because he certainly isn't very smart. Anyway, let's move on to him going after Patrick Darcy, an actual attorney.
Well, here we go again. I'm about to debunk this theory. Actually, I don't dislike this guy. I actually kind of like this guy. Again, just like she doesn't have any background on Lane Myers' case, I have no background on this guy. I'm just going strictly off this video, just straight from this video. So everything I say is just my thoughts from this video, so don't hold it against me, okay?
And I'm sure this is going to be just as riveting and full of information as your video was about Lucid's Lair. I mean, seriously, dude, you need to get a grip on reality.
This is just one small sample of all the different ways to get evidence admitted or excluded and all the different cases involving it. I've been doing this shit for 19 years, okay? I've won close to 90% of my cases. I just had a jury decision come back in my favor in 34 minutes flat.
Now, if he's a defense attorney, that's a wonderful stat. I mean, that is ridiculous. But if you're a prosecutor, I don't think that's even a braggable thing. I wouldn't even tell people that because, first of all, the percentage is misleading just because it's a percentage. The actual numbers would make more sense. But again, even if it is, a prosecutor has all the power, all the evidence, and all the discretion to drop a case if he wants to. A prosecutor should never lose at trial, ever. I mean, if it's questionable, drop it. You know what I'm saying? Refile it later. Anything more than 100%, but 100% should be the norm.
Okay, this is really strange. By his logic, everyone who goes to trial facing a prosecutor should be found guilty 100% of the time, because why? That's why they have trials, to see if the person is guilty or innocent. You're innocent until you're proven guilty, but this guy thinks just because you go in front of a prosecutor, you should definitely be found guilty because the prosecutor should never have any question in his mind that this is a winnable case. Wow. Anyway.
Anything less than that, like 90%, I'm sorry, but I think that's bad.
The cases, knowing the code, and knowing how to exclude evidence or get evidence admitted. So if you do not know that and think it's just a matter of just yelling at the judge to get your way, you're going to get your ass royally kicked.
Okay, well, he's definitely seen one of Lane's videos because the whole yelling at the judge comment. So he's not unfamiliar with him. Just wrong about why. The reason Lane yells at judges is because they don't follow the court rules. He doesn't yell to get his way. He yells because they're not following the rules that we all need to follow. But here's my thing. So he's going to say something in a minute that to me is the whole problem with a breakdown or diagnosis from a prosecutor's viewpoint, or from anybody's viewpoint who's never been the victim of one of these. But anyways, you don't have to have gone through a malicious prosecution to understand what I'm saying, but there's just, for some reason, lawyers in general can't grasp the other side of the fence kind of idea, or the inverse of their view. Like, I'll show you what I mean. Like, right? Okay, but first, I just want y'all to take notice of this, because it says November 14th was when it took place or whatever, and but look, it says filed, and then it's blacked out. Clerk of Superior Court. There's no stamp on it. Right? Stamps. But it also says 11/18/2024. So that's when it was filed, right? But what exactly does filing mean? I always thought it meant when it was stamped. You know what I mean? It was filed on the day it was stamped, right? But other than that, I figured for sure whenever they put it online, like, put it on the internet or whatever, that would be filed, right? But then how does he explain this? Because he comes back out halfway through the hearing, or like right before he announces his decision, and says this.
All right, we are back on the record. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. All this paperwork is now online. 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 And I'm not the best typist, so that's why it took me a little while.
Then he says, I'm not the best typist, that's why it took a little while longer. This was 11/10/11. November 14th. This was November 14th. Why does it say November 18th when it was filed? If he put it up online and typed it himself, what changed? Like, why 4 days wait before it's officially filed? And if it is officially filed 4 days later, why is it not stamped?
Maybe because you just explained it by saying that you don't understand what it means that it was filed one day and the date's different and this, and you don't get it. You don't know how the court works. Obviously, you're a dumbass.
Do y'all see what I'm saying? And this is the injunction against harassment that they're using, and that the cop testified is still valid today. Right? Assuming that we agree with the fact that it was signed under coercion, right? And assuming that this is legitimate, then it would be that one. But I believe with those two things, that him signing it is questionable, and the fact that this guy has a piece of paper that said it was filed 4 days later, or a digital whatever thing of it, I think that's pretty much enough to get to let him the fuck out of jail.
Oh, good Lord. This is just ridiculous. This guy has absolutely no idea what he's talking about, yet he's making commentary as if he's an authority on the field. It just makes no sense. Anyway, just another Lane Myers simp. There's plenty of them out there. Every time I do a video on Lane, they jump in my comments and tell me I'm a bootlicker and all kinds of good things, which I don't care. I kind of appreciate it. I get 7.5 cents every time they click on my video, so thank you. Anyway, thanks for watching the video, folks. Hope you enjoyed. I just found it kind of amusing that this expert was going to fill me with knowledge, which I'm still dumber than when I started after listening to it. You all have a great day. Love y'all. Bye.